Hey everybody, it's Alison from Thriving While Disabled, and now that this area no longer smells like dead fish, I am excited to be coming back and doing these little live talks again. Today I want to talk to you a bit about the idea of traveling with a disability. Depending on what your condition is, your condition can make traveling very difficult or not too much harder. And there's different challenges depending on just what condition or symptoms you're dealing with. But I want to let you guys know that as things start to quiet down a little bit with COVID, as more people get vaccinated, people are starting to think about traveling again, including me. I haven't gone much of anywhere besides in the car with my partner yet. But I start feeling able to contemplate, taking the train up to the city, and I'm starting to think about making plans to see friends and things like that. And most of my friends I haven't seen in all this time. So it's exciting, but it does mean approaching things anew, and it's gonna be a process. Because we've all been kind of desocialized, and many of us have been either home alone a lot or had a very limited group of people that we've been seeing, and now we can start opening it up a little, and now people might be starting to think about taking vacations and going places. So I've started and I'm going to continue to put out a series of posts about traveling with a disability. I put one out a few months ago where I was talking specifically about traveling on the bus, which is mostly going to be local travel. But I'm working on a post about flying and a post about taking the train and other things that use tracks. And I've also written a fair bit about thinking ahead and planning ahead and being prepared so that your trip is as comfortable and easy and low stress as possible. So I want to let you know I'm doing these things, and some are out and some are coming. I will put in the posts that I've already done so you guys can check them out. But I just think it's really important to think about it and think about how to travel safely, and not only in terms of the ongoing threat of catching COVID, but also, protecting your mental health, keeping yourself emotionally safe, and understanding the practical rules so that you can be in as much control as possible. I actually last week did a post on how to save yourself money and or spoons when traveling. So I talk about reduced fare tickets and aspects of car insurance and a lot of other little pieces. Somebody is actually watching. Cool. And a lot of other little pieces of how to think and plan ahead, and things you can do now so that when you do decide to travel, it's going to be that bit easier or safer, or both. As an example, when you fly, you can notify the airline ahead of time and get a wheelchair. Even if you aren't a wheelchair user, if you struggle with steps, have mobility issues, have major energy issues, then that will, hi Katie, if you have those kind of energy issues, using a wheelchair can be really helpful and save you energy and let you save your spoons for when you really need them. The other thing that I think is the side thing that's important to know is, unfortunately, there's a big debate about tipping people because it's an accommodation, so there shouldn't necessarily be a gratuity attached. But unfortunately, a lot of airlines actually pay these employees, assuming they get tips. So it's a interesting human rights issue on a few different levels. But the more you know ahead of time, the more likely you are to be able to have some control over how your trip goes. If you know, knowing in advance you can get the wheelchair, that can take some stress off you. Having your bag packed in advance for a flight, and knowing the rules related to packing can help you. Thinking through what you might need in transit can help you. A lot of what I talk about is pre-planning. Ooh, hi Katie. I'm just seeing your comment. Bit worried about masks on the plane, and you struggle with feeling too warm and struggle with feeling like you're getting fresh air. Yeah, I would say absolutely wear your mask, and hope other people are good about it. And for your mental health, you maybe stay away from the folks who aren't the best you can, and try to assume that they are that they're vaccinated. I know you are, but it's still probably good to wear a mask on something like a flight for your safety. And the warmth and cold thing, dress in layers. That's something I always do when I travel. So that because sometimes they turn on the air and it's suddenly cold, and sometimes it's too hot. And so wear something breathy and comfortable, and then have something comfortable and warm to put over it, so that you're going to be okay whatever you're dealing with. There's a lot of, like I said, that pre-planning and that thinking ahead that you can do. No, I'm really glad that you guys are vaccinated, because I would not recommend any travel unless you are vaccinated to give you that protection. I am going to, unfortunately, my flight one is going to be out a little too late for you. I'm probably putting it out in the next week or two. But my making things easier with transportation might be helpful too. So I just want to talk to folks and let you guys know that I am planning on doing a bunch of stuff about traveling with a disability. I've been honestly intending to do it since I started the blog, and I just never quite got around to it. So I'm doing it now. It felt weird writing about travel during COVID, but I think now people are starting to travel places, so I think it's going to be useful for reference now or in the future as you feel safer. And I think just thinking about it is helpful, because that's kind of where I'm at. The thought experiment of, am I going to be okay traveling on my own on a train or a bus? And how will I feel about it? And how will it go? And the reason I say alone is because if I'm going somewhere with my partner, he's driving. But if I'm going somewhere on my own, I'm taking public transportation. So that's just how it works personally for me. So it's a lot to think about. And like I said, I'll put in some links. And I just want everybody to think ahead about these things and plan ahead. And that's what a lot of my posts are about. That I try to do the thinking ahead so you've got a good outline to work from. And whatever else you do, take care of yourself and keep thriving.